What if I told you the very thing you're running from is the key to becoming unstoppable? Right now, there's something in your life you're avoiding. A decision, a risk, a truth, a confrontation, a dream that feels too big. You scroll past it. You distract yourself. You tell yourself later. But deep down, you know. And here's the uncomfortable reality. Fear doesn't disappear when you ignore it. It grows. Quietly, patiently, strategically. It whispers, "You're not ready. You'll fail. What will people think?" Stay comfortable. But what if fear isn't your enemy? What if it's a signal? On this channel, Fear Spiral, we don't run from fear. We walk straight into it. Because every spiral downward can become a launch upward if you understand it. Fear is not weakness. It's energy. Raw, electric, powerful energy. The same adrenaline that makes your heart race before something scary is the same force that fuels warriors, leaders, creators, and visionaries. The difference? Most people freeze. A few people focus. Think about this. Every major breakthrough in your life has been on the other side of discomfort. The first time you spoke up. The first time you tried. The first time you failed and survived. Fear was there every single time. But so was growth. The problem isn't fear. The problem is the story you attach to it. You feel nervous before an opportunity. You call it anxiety. You feel uncertain before change. You call it doubt. You feel pressure before stepping up. You call it stress. But what if it's preparation? What if your body is gearing up for expansion? Most people live inside invisible cages built by imagined consequences. They don't chase what they want because they're scared of embarrassment. They don't speak truth because they fear rejection. They don't take action because failure feels permanent. But failure isn't permanent. Regret is. And the most dangerous spiral isn't fear. It's comfort. Comfort slowly shrinks your world. It convinces you that safe is smart, that average is acceptable, that quiet dreams are better than loud attempts. But you weren't built for average. You weren't built to shrink. You were built to confront the storm inside your own mind and come out sharper. This video isn't about eliminating fear. It's about mastering it. It's about understanding why your brain reacts the way it does and how to rewire that reaction into fuel. The man in the middle of the road. If you drive long enough at night, the road starts to feel alive. Not in a poetic way. Not in a peaceful, cinematic way. Alive in a way that watches you back. I drive for a living. Night shifts mostly. Long-haul freight, sometimes coast to coast, but usually smaller deliveries across the state. Medical supplies. Equipment. Things that need to arrive before sunrise. I'm used to empty highways. Used to fog crawling low over asphalt like something breathing. Used to truck stop neon fading in the rear-view mirror. Darkness out there doesn't just surround you. It swallows you. You learn to respect it. But that night on Route 47, something happened that still doesn't sit right. And no matter how many times I try to explain it away, no matter how many times I replay the footage, the result is always the same. Nothing. Just static. It was 2:30 a.m. I remember because I checked the clock right before it happened. I was hauling a small but urgent load, medical supplies, running a little behind schedule. I'd stopped for coffee an hour earlier, but it wasn't doing much. That stretch of Route 47 cuts through dense forest for nearly 40 miles. Number houses. No gas stations. No lights. Just trees and blacktop. My headlights carved two pale tunnels through the dark while the engine hummed low beneath me. I had a podcast playing to stay alert. Some crime show. Voices filling the cab so it didn't feel so empty. Then my high beams caught movement. Far ahead. At first I thought deer. But deer don't stand still like that. It was a person. A man. Standing perfectly still in the center of the two-lane road. Head down. Arms hanging loose at his sides. No flashlight. No reflective gear. No phone. Just there. Like he'd been placed there. I slammed the brakes. The truck screamed in protest. Tires squealing. ABS kicking in. I stopped maybe 10 feet from him. My heart hit my ribs like it was trying to escape. Who stands in the middle of a forest highway at 2:30 in the morning? I flashed my brights. Nothing. I laid on the horn. Long. Aggressive. Nothing. He didn't flinch. Didn't lift his head. Didn't react like a human being startled by 2 tons of metal inches from his body. I grabbed my phone. No signal. Of course. That stretch never has signal. I thought about stepping out, asking if he needed help, but something inside me tightened. It wasn't fear exactly. It was instinct, the kind that speaks before logic. Don't. The silence outside was wrong. Not quiet. Wrong. Like the forest itself was holding its breath. I shifted into reverse, easing backward to go around him. That's when he moved, slowly, head still down. 1 step forward. Then another, toward me. Arms still hanging. Not aggressive. Not rushed. Just deliberate. I rolled up the windows completely. Locked the doors. My palms were sweating against the steering wheel. I honked again. Yelled. Flashed the lights. Nothing. He kept walking. Then I saw them. Shapes peeling away from the tree line. 2 on the left. 1 on the right. Emerging from the forest like shadows learning how to stand. Same posture. Heads lowered. No flashlights. No visible faces. Just silhouettes stepping onto the road. They didn't need to run. They didn't need to hurry. They had me boxed in. My chest felt tight. I slammed the truck into drive. The man in front of me was maybe 5 feet away now. I expected him to jump aside when I accelerated. Any sane person would. He didn't. He lunged, straight at my windshield. I screamed, braced for impact. But there was no impact. No thud. No crack of glass. No body rolling across the hood. He was just gone, like smoke blown sideways. The road ahead was empty. The figures from the woods? Gone. No shapes. No movement. Just trees and asphalt. I didn't slow down, didn't check mirrors, didn't think. I just drove. Miles blurred past. My breathing came in sharp pulls. No headlights followed me. No sign of pursuit. Nothing. When I finally reached a truck stop 30 minutes later, I pulled under the brightest floodlight I could find. I sat there gripping the wheel until my hands stopped shaking. Then I checked the dashcam. I needed proof. I needed something solid. The footage played normally, me driving podcast in the background. Then the timestamp hit 2:31 a.m. The screen turned to static. Not black. Static. 30 full seconds. Just distortion. Then the image snapped back to normal. Empty road. Me shouting in the cab. No man. No figures. No lunge. Nothing. I replayed it. Same thing. Static. I called the police. Filed a report. They went out there before dawn. Found nothing. No footprints. No reports of pedestrians. No stalled cars. Nothing. They suggested fatigue. Sleep deprivation. Micro-sleep hallucinations. Said maybe the dash cam glitched. Hardware malfunction. Easy answers. Safe answers. But I know what I saw. And I know what I felt. Weeks passed. I tried to push it down. But truckers talk. At stops. Over coffee. Through radio chatter. And every now and then someone would mention Route 47. Figures in the road. People who don't move. Blank faces. Cars that vanish. Deliveries that never arrive. Some blame cults. Some pranksters. Some say it's just urban legend. But I changed routes. I don't drive 47 anymore. I don't like forests at night. And here's the part that won't leave me alone. 2 weeks ago. 2:30 a.m. Different road. Different forest. The dash cam flickered. Just for a second. 1 frame. And in that frame, he was there. Standing in the middle of the road. Waiting. The 3rd stall. It was just after midnight when Erin pulled off the highway. She'd been driving for hours through that long, desolate stretch between Reno and Salt Lake, the kind of interstate where headlights are rare and the horizon feels endless. Out there, the night doesn't feel empty. It feels occupied. Her problem was simpler. She needed a restroom. The highway rest stop appeared ahead like a dim island in an ocean of dark. Government maintained, concrete building, a couple picnic tables, vending machines humming under weak yellow lights. One other car sat in the parking lot, a dusty silver sedan, windows tinted dark, engine off, no movement inside. Erin hesitated, then told herself she was being dramatic. She grabbed her keys and stepped out. The night air felt cooler than it should have. Still, too still. She walked briskly toward the women's restroom. The fluorescent lights inside flickered with that harsh electrical buzz that always makes these places feel abandoned, even when they aren't. The tiled floor was damp, not soaked, just clammy. The air smelled like disinfectant and mildew. There were 3 stalls, the first 2 open, the third closed. As she passed it, she noticed shoes beneath the door. Black shoes, perfectly still. Toes pointed toward the toilet. She didn't think much of it. People use bathrooms in silence all the time. She entered the first stall, locked it, handled her business quickly. The walls were scratched with faded marker scribbles, phone numbers, names carved into paint, a crude drawing of a stick figure with the words, "He's watching." She rolled her eyes. When she stepped out, she glanced again toward the third stall. Still closed. Still the shoes. Still no sound. She washed her hands slowly. The mirror above the sink was cracked down the center. Her reflection split in 2. She glanced back at the third stall again. Nothing. No shifting. No coughing. No flush. No breathing. That's what started to feel wrong. The stillness. No one is that still for that long. She leaned slightly and peered beneath the divider again. Her breath caught. The shoes were facing the door now, toes pointing outward. She hadn't heard movement. Not a shuffle, not a scuff. Nothing. Her heart began to race. Okay, she thought. Maybe the person turned around quietly. Maybe they were adjusting something. Rational, normal. Then she heard it. Breathing. Slow, raspy, wet, coming from the third stall. Erin froze. The sound wasn't loud, but it filled the entire room. She stepped back toward the exit, eyes locked on the stall door. The fluorescent lights flickered, buzzed louder. She reached for the handle of the restroom door. The lights flickered violently. The door slammed shut. She screamed and yanked the handle. It wouldn't open. It felt like something was holding it from the outside. Her heart pounded in her throat. The third stall door creaked, slowly, opening inch by inch. The inside was pitch black, darker than it should have been. The shoes remained where they were, motionless. No legs visible, just shoes. Standing there, Erin whispered, "Hello?" No response. The stall door opened fully. Inside, nothing. No person. Just the shoes. And a crumpled brown coat draped across the toilet seat. She took a trembling step forward. Something in her needed to confirm it. Needed to see clearly. The shoes were upright, standing naturally. But there were no legs inside them. They weren't propped. They weren't leaning. They were simply standing. Erin backed away slowly. Then, the coat twitched. Not fell, not slid. Twitched, as if something beneath it shifted. She screamed and ran for the exit again. This time, the door flew open. She burst into the cold night air, lungs burning, chest heaving. She didn't look at the silver sedan, didn't check if it was still there. She sprinted to her SUV, locked the doors, and drove. She didn't stop for 100 miles. The next day, she reported it to Highway Patrol. The officer listened quietly. When she finished, he asked, "Was it mile marker 231? You're not the first." He didn't elaborate. Later, she researched it. In 2016, a woman went missing from that exact rest stop. Security footage showed her entering the restroom at 2:02 a.m. She never exited. Her car remained parked until morning. No struggle. No evidence. Just gone. Erin never used another rest stop again. But sometimes, in her dreams, she's back there, standing in front of the third stall, and this time, the coat doesn't twitch. It rises. The last ride. They say in rideshare circles, don't take the last ride, especially if it's rural, especially after midnight. But I needed the money. Rent was due. It was 1:45 a.m. when the request came in. Pickup location, a remote forest road, 30 miles outside the city. No houses visible, no businesses, just a pin dropped in the middle of green on the map. The name, Matt. No profile picture, no rating, no reviews. My gut said ignore it, but I hit accept. The road narrowed from highway to cracked pavement, then to dirt. Trees swallowed the moonlight. I turned off the radio. The silence felt more appropriate. When I reached the pin, nothing, no lights, no vehicles, no movement. I tapped the horn. Once. Then from the trees, a man stepped out, mid-30s maybe, dark jacket, jeans, hood partially up. He didn't wave, didn't speak. He opened the rear passenger door and sat down, gently closing it. No greeting, no small talk. You Matt? I asked. No response. The ride confirmed in the app, destination loaded. Back toward town. For 10 minutes, silence. Then he spoke. You should have kept driving. His voice wasn't threatening. It sounded regretful. I glanced in the rear-view mirror. The back seat was empty. Door closed. No sound of it opening. No slam. Nothing. I nearly swerved off the road. Hello? I called. Silence. I turned on the cabin light. Empty seat. But when I reached back, the cushion was warm, as if someone had just been sitting there. The app still showed the ride in progress. Then the map began to shift. The route recalculated, looping back into the same forest roads. The end ride button was grayed out. No signal bars. I tried restarting my phone. It booted back to the same ride screen. A notification popped up. Thank you for picking up Matt. The ride will end when he says so. My throat went dry. I kept driving. The trees seemed taller, closer. Every few minutes I thought I saw something in the woods. A pale shape. A face. But when I turned, nothing. I passed a red mailbox 3 times. The same broken tree limb. I was looping. Stuck. After nearly an hour, I saw headlights. An old gas station. I pulled in and ran inside. An older man behind the counter looked startled. You okay? He asked. I must have looked wrecked. I used his landline to call police. They arrived 30 minutes later. Took my statement. When they checked my rideshare app, there was no record of the past 3 hours. No Matt. No GPS data. Nothing. They suggested exhaustion. Stress. When I opened my trunk, there was a dark jacket inside. Folded neatly. It wasn't mine. The officer asked if I wanted to log it as found property. I said no. I left it in the trash. Deleted the app when I got home a week later. I received a notification, even though the app was gone. Thank you for picking up Matt. We hope you enjoyed your ride. No number attached. No uninstall option. And every night since, I swear I hear my back door open and someone sit down. There's something about empty roads, about quiet bathrooms, about back seats in the dark, places that should feel ordinary, but don't. Fear doesn't always roar. Sometimes it stands perfectly still in the middle of the road. Sometimes it waits in the third stall. Sometimes it asks for a ride. And maybe the scariest part isn't what these people saw. It's what they couldn't prove. Static footage, missing records, no evidence, just memory and instinct. We live in a world that demands explanations, logic, data, proof. But there are moments, rare, unsettling moments, when experience overrides explanation, when your body knows something before your mind catches up. And in those moments, you have two choices: ignore it or listen. Fear spiral isn't about running from fear. It's about facing it, understanding it, respecting it. Because fear isn't always weakness. Sometimes it's warning. Sometimes it's survival. And sometimes it's something else entirely. If these stories made you uncomfortable, good. That means you were present. If they made you question the dark, good. That means you were paying attention. And if you've ever experienced something you couldn't explain, you're not alone. Drop your story in the comments. Because here on Fear Spiral, we explore the edge of what we know and what waits just beyond it. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us. Because the spiral doesn't end here. It just goes deeper. Thank you for watching.